At the beginning of the school year, many families are worried about their child's safety. In special education, we worry not just on the first day, but a lot of times we're concerned about safety, eloping, wandering all school year long. Let's talk about it on this episode of the Special Education Inner Circle podcast. So I can truly remember the feeling that I had when I was working in a school district as a consultant. They had called me up and they said, we have this problem. They were in Kentucky. I was in Illinois. They said, we have this problem that we are in conflict with some of the families that are in our district. And they said that if we don't bring you to come help solve this problem, then things are going to get worse. They had been watching me on Facebook. They were watching me do lives and do trainings and talk about special education, just as I'm talking with you right now. And they said, can you come in and try to problem solve some things? And it's sure. So there were a long list of things that were listed, but something was missing. So I showed up the first day. I was going to be on site at that campus. It was an elementary school for at least 2, maybe 3 days. I was going to be on site. So I show up and I never know what the dress code exactly is. And so when I'm going on site, right? Like I have to, research it and figure it out. And so I showed up in, some nice teacher clothes and I had some nice shoes on. Now, I understand. I did not have high heels on. Okay. I did not have the fancy shoes on, but I had some nice shoes on and I showed up and I meet the teachers and you can tell I got that look like, does she know what's going on? And I knew immediately that something was missing in my notes that I was given. So I start my day and I start following around some students that I'm there to help problem solve their IEP. And the next thing I know, I am running through the gymnasium as fast as I can to get to a student who was approximately 8 years old and super fast before he got to the other end of the gymnasium where the door opened to the outside and there was no fence on the other side of the grassy yard that was outside of the school. And I knew this because I had just driven there. And I'm running as fast as I can. And I got to make sure that this student is safe. And I'm thinking to myself, when all of this is over, right? And child is safe. I caught up to him. Okay. So the child is safe. And I'm thinking, why did nobody tell me this? And oh my goodness, we need a safety protocol. We need something. And there's got to be a solution that's going to work. And I ended up talking to the parents. And is this an issue at home? And it turns out that it is. And you know what? There are solutions out there that can help with not just runners or eloping or wandering, but can help on so many different levels. So as I'm looking all the time for the best of the best things of how do we solve problems differently than we have in the past, I came across this thing called AngelSense. So AngelSense, I'm going to show it to you. They have a couple different versions. AngelSense has like a fob looking device, and then it also has a smartwatch looking device. And this is a GPS tracker, and it has so many cool things that I'm going to tell you that had this been around when this situation I just talked about, this would have been one of the first things that I would have brought to the IEP team and said, listen, we need to make sure that this child is safe on so many different levels. And having panic as running across the gym, trying to make sure we catch up. Now, I would have had to do that anyway, right? Even if we're wearing a GPS tracker, we may have to run and go catch up. But this child didn't just run in the gym when we happen to see that he's running across all the way over to the door that he's not supposed to go to. This child was eloping and wandering, and at times where there wasn't always, right, 2, 3 adults around where somebody's eyes could catch him. Turns out the same thing was happening at home. So AngelSense is this solution that makes it so easy. So this fob, you can actually, hide it into a child's clothes in the way of that they're not going to be able to manipulate it during the day, and that we can put it in a kid's backpack. Smartwatches, so cool, right? So we can have smartwatches to do this. And the tracking and making sure that we can absolutely know where a child is at all times. This is really, really important in our disability community. So when I was talking to AngelSense, the AngelSense team, which by the way, their customer service team is all run by parents who have children with disabilities, who have experienced the need for AngelSense. So when you say like people who get it, that you want to connect with resources and people who understand what the needs are at school, at home, AngelSense is amazing. So I'm like, okay, AngelSense, like tell me all the bells and whistles, because I'm thinking back to this situation that I had to go problem solve at the school, and, eloping and wandering, this was an issue. So I'm like, tell me all the bells and whistles. So I got a full demo of AngelSense. The important thing for you to know is that you absolutely can work together as parents and teachers and have solutions like this put into a child's IEP. Now, I know one of the questions is going to be, who's going to pay for it? Well, I can't get into on one episode here. I can't get of the podcast here. I cannot get into all the different strategies of who might be paying for it. Okay. There's all different options. There's all different options for who is purchasing a device, which, by the way, you wanted to go check out, because depending on when you're listening to this, depending on what time of year it is, there may be certain promotions going on with AngelSense. So, but you need to go see what they have, and then don't let the barrier of who pays for this, or my school will or will not allow something like this. Don't let the barrier of that stop your thought process as you continue to hear the benefits of all the things that AngelSense can do. Okay, ready? So here, I have notes. I'm going to read for them because there's too many things for me to remember off the top of my head. So here, this is what AngelSense is built to do. Ready? So reduces the restrictions of the environment and the activity types. How many of you as parents or teachers have had to reduce the activity during the school day or out in the community because we had to make sure that the child was safe? And if they wandered, like maybe they weren't going to run across the street. We really weren't worried about safety of like running, but what if they wandered? What if you took your eyes off of them for 2 seconds? What if you were holding their hand, but then you needed to help your other child or your other students? What if, right? So being able to expand the ability to participate in activities, because we would have this tracker that would allow us to know exactly where a child is at, and it would send out alerts. Okay, so if a child is where they're not supposed to be, let's just say child's supposed to be on school campus, child leaves school campus, that's going to be a problem. We need alerts to go off. Those alerts can go to teachers, it can go to parents, alerts can happen. Okay, allows children, and I'm going to say individuals, because this can be used for adults too, okay, to practice activities independently. You know what? Building independence is scary. We talk about this inside of, building an IEP. When we're going to do this effectively, we talk about self-advocacy. We talk about independence. It sounds easier than what it really is, right? So having tools like AngelSense and being able to say, listen, we can help expand the independence. We can help expand the autonomy of an individual. We can help expand their environment and help them build new skills, because we have a plan in case things don't go quite as planned, right? That's pretty much the only thing we can plan, is that things are never going to go as planned. We always have to be ready. We absolutely have to be ready. So this also can help really the individual feel confident and build up this skill set in a way of like, listen, I've got my smartwatch on. I'm allowed to go run an errand from my classroom over to the office and go bring this piece of paper. I'm able to go do this task with my peers without having to have an adult exactly by my side, because the adults are now confident that they know where I'm at because I have AngelSense. Do you see how this could absolutely be integrated throughout an entire school day? Making sure that we're meeting the needs of the child, being prepared for further education, employment, independent living, making sure that we're building this independence, making sure that we're increasing the quality not only of a child's school day, but I talk about this as a sibling all the time. Increasing a child's independence increases their quality of life and the quality of life of their family. I'll give you another example. In fact, I'm pretty sure I've never even shared this story before about my brother. And so my brother is a couple years younger than me. And he was living actually near me. And he lives with my mom. And my mom went to work for the day. My mom absolutely left him home alone. He's good. He's independent. He's got his phone. He knows all safety protocols. Like, he's good. Okay. Like, we got this. Okay. However, he was newer to the neighborhood. They had just moved there. My mom has this job down the street. on the corner at a store. And it's really easy to get to. You go out of the subdivision, you turn right, and then you just keep walking and you'll see the store, right? Sounds easy, except for my brother decided one day that he was going to go see my mom at work. He didn't tell anybody. He wanted it to be a surprise. So my brother walks out of the subdivision and doesn't turn right. He just keeps going. Now he figured out to call me, and my brother, having Down syndrome, his language is not always where it needs to be when it comes to new situations. Okay. Like for me to easily understand him. Using the buttons to always put on FaceTime, it wasn't proficient at that time. Okay. This was a long time ago. And there was nobody around. So he calls me and he says, Kath, I'm lost. And I said, what do you mean you're lost? Like, you're supposed to be home and like mom's at work. Like, I knew what was going on. And so I finally figure out, I'm asking the questions, I'm getting the answers. I'm like, is anybody around you? Nope. You know what? And then I said, like, stop moving right now and tell me, what do you see? And he was able then to say, oh, I see this, I see this, I see this. And he starts describing. I'm like, okay, I know where you're at. Stay right there. Find My Phone wasn't on between me and him. He has his privacy that's on between my mom and him. And, I'm trying to get a hold of my mom at work. Like, all of this happens fast, right? It happens really, really fast. And I'm in a panic as a sister. And I'm like, okay, I'm like, hang on. I'm like, do not move. Do not move. Like, stay on the phone with me and do not move. He was a few blocks from home. Again, he had just forgotten to turn right. All right. GPS tracker would have been so much better than what Find My Phone can even do right now. Okay. I can tell you right now, when I worked with the AngelSense people and I said, show me all the bells and whistles, show me the things. Like when I saw that you can say, okay, here's the school campus and here are the buildings on the school campus when it comes to all of their technology and their AI that's built in and the mapping and just their technology is so good. And be able to say, like, here's the gym, here's the library, here's the playground, here's these things. Like, you can actually map within those buildings, within the campus, the buildings that a child is in. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so much more pinpointed than where Find My Phone is saying, especially if service is not great. Like, there's options if service is not great. Like, there's so many just different options. And as a sister, I was like, oh my goodness, this makes sense. This makes so much sense. Now, I got to mention this too. Using a phone or having a smartphone, that's not always a solution that families go for. Now, with AngelSense, here's something that's huge. It's huge. There's two-way communication with their devices. Okay. Now, some of you just freaked out when I said that. You're like, wait a minute, two-way. You had me until this. So how are we going to use this at school if there's two-way communication and like parents can like call into their kids at any time, or kids could, hit it says SOS, right? Hit the SOS button, hit the SOS button and start talking basically on speakerphone from the fob here. And, hey, kind of describing what's going on. And maybe it's not something that needs an SOS at school. Okay. With that, guys, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that piece. Just know this is a fantastic feature. It absolutely works at school. It works at home. And these things like having two-way communication, there's actual school liaisons at AngelSense that will help make sure that your AngelSense device is set up to appropriately support a child at school and appropriately support a child at home. It works. It absolutely works to have this coordination between home and school and have all the bells and whistles of two-way communication, of all the GPS, of the alerts of where a child's at, of what's going on. And the comfort and the safety that comes with that is just huge. So, okay, here, I'm just going to give you a couple last minute thoughts from caregivers who are using this, whether it's with their child who has a disability and they're at school and we're working with the IEP team, or even caregivers who are taking care of elderly parents. Maybe you're at that, stage. And I know a lot of us can be at that stage where we're taking care of both. We're taking care of kids and parents. Okay. So here, think about this as a caregiver. Think about this for you and teachers. Yes, you're caregivers too during the day. Okay. During the day, you are absolutely right. That go-to person. So you're able to check in on a child's well-being. You're able to diffuse stressful moments from afar. Okay, teachers, hear me on this, okay? Child is struggling in a classroom. You can't get there, but yet you're their go-to person. What if you can use this device? So we don't have to worry about, necessarily like the smartphones or the walkie-talkies, right? Some of these schools still using walkie-talkies to try to diffuse things. This adds an extra layer of communication. So you can be in places when you can't physically be in places. You can still be there. You can talk to the people nearby in case of emergency. And you can also talk the children through steps of what they need to do. Let's just say that they're alone in the school building, meaning like they're getting from point A to point B and they're like, I'm stuck. Like I took a wrong turn. The same way my brother took a wrong turn in his neighborhood. You can take a wrong turn in a lot of schools, right? So having that backup that's not dependent on a smartphone, but it gives this ability to talk. There's just so many things. And as I'm, looking through social media and I'm thinking about all of the parents and teachers who are building IEPs in a way that is based on, I'm just going to call it out, old school methodologies, things that have always been done. It's time for us to look at what is happening as we go forward. What is happening as we go forward in the future? What is happening with assistive technology? What is happening that we can integrate into an IEP so a child truly can be prepared for further education, employment, and independent living? AngelSense is assistive technology. Assistive technology is part of special education. If you are concerned, if any of these things, you're just like, yes, I can see this is what's happening for my students. This is what's happening for my child. You need to open up that conversation and start talking to each other about solutions like AngelSense and beyond, right? We need to go beyond. We need to have the safety plans in the IEPs. We need to make sure that we're communicating the truth. Way back, right, in the beginning of this, I told you about how I was not informed that this was an issue for this child, that like leaving campus was something that this child really, really wanted, which means that there were other reasons that this child wanted to leave campus. We fixed those. Okay. Child did not want to leave campus after that, but there were reasons, there were things, and it wasn't communicated. We have to have open, honest communication about what a child truly needs to be prepared for further education, employment, independent living. If we hold back facts, we hold back truth. If we're not looking at what is possible and being honest about it, we're not going to find the best solutions. So I'm going to encourage you this school year, let's open up that conversation. Let's talk about safety. Let's put in the safety plans. Let's put in all the pieces that we need. And let's make sure that we're considering assistive technology like AngelSense to make that happen. If you have concerns about safety, putting together safety plans, troubleshooting kind of during the school day, how do we build independence while doing that? Please do not hesitate to reach out. I would love to send you some resources from Master IEP Coach. I'll make sure to get those to you. I'll put some links below here too. I'm going to put all the links and all the things for AngelSense too, because I have only touched on the things that AngelSense can do. But I'm going to tell you that when I start working with all the families and all the schools this school year, and I start hearing all the kind of struggles when it comes to how do we build independence, how do we make sure they're safe, how do we do that, AngelSense is going to be my go-to resource of, how could we implement this technology to really build independence, confidence, autonomy, self-advocacy, and keep safety number one. I'll see you guys next time on Special Education Inner Circle Podcast.